Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Wilson. I'm the Associate Director of Student Development, and we are going to chat today about how to create events in OspreyHub. The first step in planning any of your events is to make sure that you have the appropriate space reserved on campus. This is a quick slide just to remind you that in order to get access to 25 Live, which is our reservation system on campus, you do need to take the annual required training in Blackboard before we will turn on your access to making space reservations in 25 Live. Once you're all set, though, and ready to add things into OspreyHub, what you can do is from the main screen, scroll down to the icon or the logo for your organization, click that and hit the events link on here, and that will bring you to a page with lots of information. The good thing about OspreyHub is that it tracks everything and it stores everything here for you. So even if your past president or the past vice president didn't get you up to speed on all the events that your organization has done in the past, OspreyHub has it. So in order to find out more information about an event that's here, or maybe you want to go back to the event last year and just copy the description, you can access that from this menu. You can either use the search field over here to search for an event, or once you have an event, you can click on that little menu and scroll down to access different things. If you hit view and explore, that's where you go to see the full description, the date, the time, the location, and the event description that your previous eBoard members set up for that event. To create a new event, you'll hit this button at the top right-hand corner of your page. Many of these details are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm just going to highlight some of the big things to remember. So obviously, since the pandemic, some events have gone virtual and have stayed virtual. So if you're doing your meetings virtually to make sure that you are able to get residents from the Atlantic City campus, the Galloway campus, and our commuter students at any time of the day, maybe you're doing your meetings virtually. This option, if you hit online location, gives you that space to put your Zoom information in, as well as any passwords or any additional information that students would need to know to log on to your event or your meeting. If you are putting something in here that's a full series, maybe it's a discussion series that you're holding monthly, maybe it's your weekly meetings, whatever it is, if it's the same thing that's happening more than once, use this option at the bottom where it says add another date. That will make it so much easier so you don't have to answer all of these questions for the same type of event or a meeting. Once you get to this part of the submission form, there's options to set your event to different security levels. So you can show it to the public, which is any person who stumbles upon our OspreyHub, whether or not they're a student. Students and staff in OspreyHub are probably the safest option because it limits the view to just people within the Stockton community. If you are doing something such as an organization meeting, please click organization members, because we want to make sure that that only shows in the event feed for members of your group. When students log into OspreyHub, we want them to see all of the different events that are happening on campus, and we don't want that event feed to get flooded with organization meetings, unless, of course, you are part of that organization. And then we want to make sure that the photography club meetings appear or the set meetings appear, but we only want them to appear for members of that organization unless you're doing something special like a general member party or something to try and attract new members. Then the next step would be to add your cover photo. My biggest tip for creating event cover photos is to make sure that you're creating them essentially the same size as a PowerPoint slide. That tends to work pretty well, leaving a little buffer on the sides to crop things down. It is best to make sure to keep this simple. This is not the same as creating a flyer, and I can't stress that enough. When you're creating flyers and posters to hang around campus, you want to make sure that you include all the information, because that's the only piece that they will see to understand what your event entails. On OspreyHub, though, it really serves as a thumbnail image with the rest of the details for your event attached right there underneath that image. So don't feel like you need to put all of the information on this one piece, because it's not necessary and people aren't going to see it. It won't be visible. As you can see just from looking at some of these, it's very clear that this is the Atlantic City Latino Festival, and then you can click to find out more. Very clear that this is something for Stockton volleyball, and you can click and learn more. So keep that all in mind as you design your images that will be used for OspreyHub. Keep it simple, keep it centered so that if you need to go and crop things down a little bit, you can. And you can adjust as necessary. Next, you'll have a few other questions based on what type of event it is. If it's a fundraiser, if it's funded through your club budget or a student senate funding request, there's some additional fields to answer. And then obviously, who is your student development advisor? So this way it routes to the correct person. Once you have all of that stuff in and your event is there, now it's time to market it. So you can use the URL for your event and post that on your social media accounts to help spread the word, but you can also invite people within the internal Stockton community. So if you click on this invitations and RSVP option, you can go ahead and either manage your participants that you've already invited and see what their response is, or click manage participants and invite people so that you can begin to invite more people to your event. So maybe you're pulling the attendance from your last club meeting and inviting that group of people, or you're inviting your club members, or you're inviting people in a different organization. The biggest thing to remember is that these have to be Stockton email addresses. You can't email these invitations to a Gmail account, a Yahoo account, or any other personal email address because they won't be able to click through there and log in. The other thing to remember with invitations is that if you are requiring a ticket, disable that RSVP function, which is part of the event process when you're adding the event, just because there are some people out there who believe that when they RSVP to an event on OspreyHub, that's it, that's all they need to do. And so sometimes they might not realize that they need to go to the info desk to buy a ticket to the set concert because they already RSVP'd for it on OspreyHub and they should be able to go. Obviously, that's not how it works. We want to reduce the confusion. And so just keep that in mind in terms of when to utilize the invitations and the RSVP function and when to disable that. If you have any questions at all about this process, please feel free to reach out to me or your student development advisor, and we are happy to help. Thank you so much, and I hope that you found this information helpful.